let's look at alternative energy. First off, read this disclaimer carefully and do your good deed of the day by liking and subscribing. You can find alternative energy here under the megatrends, and overall we see extreme performance. Of course, I am happy with these big moves, but at this point, when you look at alternative energy as an example, 781% average from the 52-week lows. It is so excessive that the bearish side of me starts to squeak a bit, because everything in moderation. I mean, look at blockchain here as an example, over 2,000%. I think that for this year, 2021, there certainly will be, a bunch of stocks that will continue to run further, but there will be many good short selling opportunities, because there's just so much that is ridiculous. We will look at Ballard Power Systems. They are in the hydrogen fuel business. Very strong gain today. Bulls are definitively in control. To be perfectly clear, I am bullish on alternative energy long term, looking years into the future. I am super bullish. I'm also bullish on Ballard, but everything in moderation. Let's compare it to running marathons. Running a marathon is, it's healthy. It really trains you, and it's good for your cardiovascular system and so on and so forth. But if you start to run marathons one after the other, literally one after the other, then it goes from being healthy to something that can actually be deadly. It can cause cardiac arrest. So sort of like, that's the issue I have with many stocks and sectors now. It's just way too much too fast. If you look at the seasonality here of Ballard, BLDP is the ticker, you can see that January is actually the strongest month. That also means that potentially in January is going to be it's going to be a very good entry opportunity for a bearish position, or to take profits if you have been long. So here's the company's website. Okay, a very nice website. Hydrogen fuel cells, very strong trends. So zero emission fuel cell electric vehicles will positively change the lives of the next generation. For over 30 years, we have relentlessly developed and improved our technology. Why? Because we have to. It's about making the world better for our children and for their children. Yeah, great. I totally agree. When we look here at the charts for Ballard Power Systems, let's look at the giga picture. Super big picture. Okay, you can see that there's been a lot of things happening. Well, how far back can we actually go? Yeah, we can actually go pretty far back. Something you just have to be aware of when you look at the very big picture, go way back in time, is that companies, of course, they can change their business models. And it could be that, Ballard was doing different things in different time periods. But anyway, we have seen here that Ballard can have massive bubbles and total implosions in the past. This was during the dot-com bubble. So let's zoom in a bit, because let's kind of get the picture of Ballard. So it's been through a monstrous bear market, extreme depression, just hate. This stock was hated. Meaning the psychology around Ballard was very different from what it is currently. Here there's a lot of love, then pure hate. Love, hate. Okay, now there's a lot of love. But based on the history of this stock, we know for a fact that emotions can be very, very high for this security. It's been hated passionately before. It's also been very much loved. I do think that the change here, long term, looking years into the future, is very constructive for Ballard. But this right here is just very excessive. The RSI has reached levels that have been triggers for major corrections in the past. So let's look at some of the corrections to get, some idea. Now I'm even being generous. I don't even take like the end, but even here we get 74% pullback. That's big. That's very big. If you take this correction here from here to there, approaching minus 50%, okay? That's big. That's very, very big. Accumulation distribution is actually corroborating the rally. So it is strong. 84% positive correlation with S&P 500. Now we go to the daily data points. When you look here at RSI, it certainly seems like the higher end of the RSI, it tends to forewarn pullbacks. And when pullbacks come, they can be very, very big. This pullback here as an example, it is, a plain vanilla correction, but for Ballard, that quickly becomes, minus 24%. Accumulation distribution is also corroborating the rally here on the daily data points. So definitively there is strength. 67% correlation with S&P 500. Yeah, so basically there's technically here in the charts, bulls are in control. There is certainly strength. The bulls are in charge, but at this point it makes more sense to look for bearish opportunities, at least temporary, than to think that, it's a risk-reward thing. And when we look at the distance from the 200-day moving average here, you can see that we was further back here, but this was after that major bear market, which it changes, the relationship with the 200-day. Here, there's after the big recovery, you see that this is a record. We've never been this far away. Very much to a pullback. Looking at Finviz here, very far away from the trend lines they have drawn. Huge moves here, huge performance. Looking here at the fundamentals, the analyst price target suggests minus 34% downside from the current levels. Going to Saks.com, number 2 buy, that's good, but F value, F growth, and F momentum. So all the style scores are just bad. And this is, of course, calculated based on the fundamentals vis-a-vis the price of the security. So let's sum up here. The theme, I'm super bullish. Long term, I'm bullish on the stocks and all of that. No problem. But that is looking years into the future. Looking more at the coming months and also weeks, I do think that there's just many of these megatrends are very much due a pullback. They have gone very, very far, very fast, very bubblish. And even though it can be very uncomfortable to be bearish during a roaring bubble, and you certainly should be careful about fighting the bulls, at this point in time, it makes more sense to think a bit bearishly, especially as we look here at Ballard. The seasonality suggests that in January could actually be a very interesting top. It is a strong month, but it also means that, as we saw, the coming months here are actually some of the weaker ones. Technicals also just super overextended. Fundamentals very overextended. Yes. Okay. Whatever you do, of course, I think it's a very good idea to try to have a market neutral overall portfolio. And this market, it taught us some very important lessons in 2020. And so far, 2021 has been a pretty wild year. So maybe buckle up.